Before we start, if you're new here and enjoy the video, please be sure to subscribe. I'm trying to hit 10,000 subscribers, so all support would be greatly appreciated. Also, be sure to leave a like as well, it really does go a long way. Recently, the votes by the media for the NBA awards this year were released, and one of the categories really stood out to me. It was the Defensive Player of the Year award, and 5 players were nominated by a group of ESPNs expert analysts as who they believe should win the Defensive Player of the Year award. Giannis Antetokounmpo was of course mentioned, along with Anthony Davis, Patrick Beverley, Bam Adebayo, and Rudy Gobert. However, one player that was failed to be mentioned at all was Ben Simmons, which is absolutely outrageous to me. In my eyes, Simmons is a top 3 defensive player in the league, should no doubt be placed onto first team all defense this season, but more importantly, at the very least, should be involved in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you why Ben Simmons is at minimum a top 3 candidate for the Defensive Player of the Year award, and why his defensive talent needs a lot more recognition. Again, if you're new here and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe to help me hit 10k, but with that all being said, let's talk about Ben Simmons.
Lucas.
Ben Simmons has played amazing this season and has been an elite level player at many points during the year. He's overall been great, averaging 16.7 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 8.2 assists per game this season. Simmons evolved into an elite defensive player this year, and in my opinion, should at least finish in the top 3 for the Defensive Player of the Year award. He's just been that good. But what makes me believe Simmons is such a good defensive player? Well, let me just list to you some stats that I believe help prove Ben Simmons' insane defensive capability. First of all, I'll tell you some basic stats, then move on to the more advanced stuff. Simmons leads the league in steals per game this season with 2.1, and he also leads the league in total steals for the season with 115. 4 of the 5 players that follow Simmons in total steals for the season have played more games than him also. Simmons is 3rd in the league in deflections per game with 4 a night, which is 0.1 worse than 2nd in Drew Holiday and 0.2 worse than Van Vliet in 1st with 4.2, so there's really not much of a difference there. However, Simmons is 2nd in the league in loose balls recovered, only behind Anthony Davis, but he leads the league in defensive loose balls recovered with 1 per game, which in this case I value over his 0.7 offensive loose balls recovered. For some advanced stats, Simmons is tied 11th in the league for defensive win shares with 3.2, but that's only 0.4 win shares behind 5th placed Adebayo, so there's not a huge difference between them. He's 8th in defensive box plus minus as well with 2.4, and again, the difference between him and higher ranked player is extremely minuscule. 3rd ranked Anthony Davis has a higher DPPM than Simmons by only 0.4. Another fun fact about Simmons' defense is this season, the 5 players that were defended by Simmons the most by minutes was Jimmy Butler, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jason Tatum, Bradley Beal, and Pascal Siakam. Those players shot 19 for 59 against Simmons. That's 32%. This shows just how great Simmons is on defense, and it absolutely baffles me how his name is yet to get a mention by many of the media personnels in the Defensive Player of the Year discussion. However, stats obviously don't show the full picture. As you've hopefully seen in the background whilst watching this video, Simmons shows a lot of his defensive talent through the eye test. With that being said, there is one clip in particular I want to show you of Simmons dominating on defense. On November 30th, 2019, the 76ers were playing the Pacers in Philadelphia, and it was a very close game with the Pacers up 1 in the final 15 seconds. Unfortunately, during those 15 seconds for Pacers fans, Simmons stole the ball 3 times and basically won the Sixers the game. His unbelievable instincts allowed him to make these clutch plays, and as someone who was able to watch it live, it's honestly one of the more underrated clutch plays from this season. In my eyes, it's one of the clutchest defensive plays I've ever seen over the last couple years, but moments like this often fly under the radar for Simmons, unfortunately, and it's just one of many elite defensive moments Simmons has had during this season. Simmons is also one of the most versatile defenders in the league. In my opinion, I think Simmons could comfortably guard 4 of the 5 positions, and the key word there is comfortably. I think it's very possible he could take on all 5 positions during a game. In summary, this is why I believe Simmons should be in heavy consideration for the Defensive Player of the Year award this season. Statistically, he's one of the best defenders in the league, proven with basic and more advanced numbers, and there are more out there that prove his elite defensive ability, but I think you guys got the point. However, those stats don't show everything, of course, which is why I showed you guys some examples of his amazing defensive instincts, hustle, and overall ability to read plays on the defensive end of the floor. He's also one of the most versatile defenders in the league and can switch onto any position really, which is amazing to see. At the end of the day, the Defensive Player of the Year will probably come down to a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo and/or Anthony Davis, 2 very deserving players and candidates. However, to leave Simmons out of the conversation completely is just straight disrespectful, and hopefully I've showed to you all why he deserves a mention today. And that will conclude the video. What do you guys think of this? Is Ben Simmons an underrated defender in your eyes? Will he win the Defensive Player of the Year in your opinion? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop it a like and subscribe, but with that being said, I am out. Peace.